What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Lost Records Journal, Player One Festival's Lost Records Focus podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I am here. I'm the one that knows how long of a drive to each state is in America. I'm here.
It was just a suggestion, right? It was just, we live on a tiny island here. You can get to like London from like Manchester in like 3 hours.
You can get to Paris in a day trip. That's the wild thing to me.
Exactly. Yeah, but your like country is like 12 countries put together, or if not 50, with the 50
America
states.
is too big. It's too big, dude. Everybody knows that I'm about to move another cross-country trip, and that's going to be a 25-hour drive just to move to another state. So with you, if you want to go to a pub in Ireland, oh, bloody hell, I'm just going to go day trip over to Ireland and then go back home. Wait, how long of a drive is it to Ireland from you?
It'd probably be like 12 maybe hours or something like that. If I'm being like,
that's not really a day trip.
Well, you'd have to like catch a flight at some point. If I flew from here, probably a lot easier. But if I'm like driving down south for some reason, then flying, it's like I can't drive my car over the ocean. Like it's not gonna happen. Like I think
is there a bridge between the UK and Ireland?
So American.
But there's a bridge to Paris.
It's underground.
But there's not one to Ireland.
Yeah, but it's Ireland though. Have you not seen Ireland's relationship with the we're talking about Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland and Ireland are having their own thing at the moment. It's like we don't need to have a bridge there. It's like they probably wouldn't even have bridges connecting between each other if they had the choice. Yes. But yes, welcome back. It is the Lost Records Journal. We are not in Ireland we are actually in the US though. We are in Michigan because we are in Velvet Cove season. And welcome back to the Lost Records Journal. If you are new here, to start with, please do drop a subscribe in the video. Like this video. If you do not like it, you are getting pushed into the abyss. That's what's going to happen. You'll get pushed into the abyss. So please like the video, share with your friends, subscribe, turn notifications. It helps support the channel. And also as well, Lost Records Journal is available on all podcast services. So you can check us out on Spotify with the video version, Apple Podcasts. So go and check us out. We have 85 followers on Spotify. We have 19 ratings as well, 4.9 or 4.8, whichever one it is. I think it's 4.9. So yeah, do rate us as well. It helps you get instant access to our episodes. It also boosts our visibility, and we really much appreciate all the support you give us, including on these videos. As I said, you will go into the abyss if you do not like the video, or you'll get barked at. There is one person who keeps saying, let me get barked at in the comments. And when you get barked at, God help you.
Put up a hot take. I'll bark at you. But you haven't put up a hot take. You're actually a good person. So no barking today.
Indeed. There's some hot takes that have been thrown around recently in the comments. We'll have to pull them up at some point.
My God. Yeah. I've barked at those people. Yes.
Oh God, yeah. I love when they actively seek out our videos. And it's like, oh, well, this game's like DEI woke stuff, and I'm like, why are you here? Yeah. Like, why are you you actively came to the video? Like, just ignore it. Like, move on from the game. You do not have to play. No one's forcing you to play Lost Records, and the fact that you are like throwing that out there as a term, well done. You know, we'll kill you with kindness instead. Well, we're really glad that you enjoyed the game.
Maybe you will. Yeah, maybe you will. I'm going to call them dweebs like they are.
Yeah. I think you've got you got much more a cutthroat approach than me on this. But yeah, honestly, some people get a life and go and touch some grass. Anyway, Adam, we've got quite a few things to talk about. So should we kick things off as well here with our first piece? So we're going to the gaffer, Michel Koch, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage director, studio creative director at Don't Nod Montreal. Warning, by the way, whilst you're watching this, spoilers season is in full swing. Do not ever come to the Lost Records Journal if you do not want to be spoiled, because we are spoiling it. You can see the spoiler on the screen right now. Well, I'm saying to you now, you have been warned. This is not a podcast where you can come here and enjoy it without playing the first tape, because I'm not going to repeat it again. And again, you have been warned. If you do get angry, abyss, that's what's going to happen to you. You will go in there. So Adam, we covered parts of this on StrangeCast. So this was an interview with CBR, and we covered mainly the Nintendo Switch stuff. Time pending, we'll cover certain parts of it, but this is the big one, if anything. It kind of revolves around the key theme of the game, which we played in the first tape, if anything. So the question was while you're no stranger to killing off characters or making your players cry, with the reveal of Kat's leukemia diagnosis, how did you, as a team, decide that one of the girls would be, as it appears right now, terminally ill? And how does it feel to commit to something as devastating as that for one of your characters? So Michel said here, and I'll read it in response. yeah, often in our stories, not everything goes well. I think coming to these kinds of decisions always involves some back and forth because, again, we want to focus on strong character stories. And personally, some of my favorite movies or TV shows or games, they often revolve around sad character stories where there is something happening that, if you care for the character, then you care even more. Because something is happening to them. I find stories about grief to be very powerful because that's something that either we have all experienced in our lives and we will experience it at a point, and I think that it will that is still a very strong human emotion. I could see it sometimes being easy in a way to use. I mean, I can see people thinking it could be seen as easy to use hardship in human life as a storytelling device, but I think it's still very strong to any dramatic movement. Even in any other stories, it's either someone getting killed or someone getting abducted. Oh, wow, there's a lot here. Anyway, we want to focus again on the group of characters, and we try to put some hints, but of course without spoiling. Like if you go back and play, you can see that. For example, Kat is asking to stop before going to the top to the top of the overlook. Even what she is saying before making a wish at the abyss is very literal about what's happening, which we kind of like talked about before as well. If you play it back, and that's the first part of the game is called Bloom, which is in the full month of July, and the concert happened on the last day of July. That's where we wanted to have this. Basically, I think the rising moment where their friendship and everything goes perfectly. And then there is a revelation of, oh, it was okay. Now we can understand some of the things that happened. But it's definitely not, it's not the perfect summer we had in mind, end quote from that. But maybe it is a perfect summer for someone like Kat because she needed that. So, final part here as well. So, I think the decision came up quite early in development when we were trying to think of our characters' backstories. Most of the time, we tried to work from the characters to see who each of them are, what is their story arc, what it is they want, and we knew we wanted to have this character that is much louder and than how she appeared because she's the smallest. Kat on the outside appears to be the weakest, I would say, but she's the strongest of the four. And we wanted to push that even more with also the reason that she's so angry, why she's acting how she is. And we have to see what happens in tape 2, but it's links to also why they're drawn to the forest, why they're drawn to this force, why she's the one that is drawn most to the abyss in the forest. I hope that we did it in a good way because it always, because it's always a question that we have wanted to work on in any character story. How do we make sure that, especially when we deal with something that is linked to real life issues, how do we make it sensible and honest and definitely not for shock value, hopefully? Adam, what do you think? I'm going to take a break there because it's a long quote.
Yeah. No, I like how Michel is challenging all of the players here. Not just challenging, but like putting in reality that, hey, like you're going to face hard times in your life. You're going to face these things regardless. Like, I don't want to say every single person has faced something as dire as a terminal illness, like with someone that they know, but they've had suffering in their past. They've had suffering from a close friend or a close family member in their lives. But it's also just something like, why is Kat so like into the abyss? There's something there to talk about, but it's also like rooted within reality. So no, I appreciate that. It's, again, this is what I always say about Michel Koch's writing. You know, he knows how to make something fantastical, but also boots to the ground at the same time. Like he knows that balance, and he's one of the great writers that we're going to be talking about. Much like, oh man, who's the guy who did the Iron Gear games? You know, those that gets metallic. Oh man, I can't remember his name. It's losing me. You know, one of those sneaky solid worms. Do you know what I'm talking about? The writer?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, we'll never remember his name, but Michel Koch will remember his name.
No, you're right though. It isn't. He's
for the record, Hideo Kojima. I want to put that on the record.
The legend. I think one of the things that where you said that as well, he's so good at writing characters. Like, fine, if there's a criticism about the pacing of the game, I accept that. It's all about each other's acquired taste and whether you think pacing, how you perceive pacing. But characters, second to none. You know, I've never watched Twin Peaks, but like David Lynch has his own kind of like signature influences as like created a kind of like a legacy where people have been influenced by his works. And the same with Michel. It's like that legacy is now created. Like he has got a very distinct vision with creating characters and styles. And I remember as well when he talked about when we were covering it back in like last year, where it was like why we can only play as Swan and why he wants you just to be Swan, because it's like want the focus to remain on that character rather than switching and alternating. So he completely understands that. It's interesting that they went into the plot part of that interview as they did. And then also as well talking about Kat, because I think when we played the game as well, I was very much, it was interesting because that was our first introduction to the Abyss in the first tape. Like that's when we first see the hole, when they're in the forest. And it's like we actually be there. And then it's that really creepy scene where Swan finds Kat in front of it. And I was like, I was like, that's interesting. Yes. Immediately noticeable that Kat is there. And I think people have seen like shadows and stuff behind in certain things where it's like there's been shadows popping up, which I still can't decide if it's bugs or not. It's like if this is actually the thing, but like we'll have to like go with the fact that it's actual shadows that are appearing. Kat being there was the main one for me. And I remember when she made her wish where it's like, you know, I want to like live, I want to live. It's like when Michel said it's like I would like quite literal. I was like, that's interesting that you're making that as well. And it's like that's why I have like my own theories about the Abyss, where it's like it's a trade-off. It's like, did she live? Like it's like she still has her illness. It's like what is actually happening here with the trade-offs of like when you throw something into the Abyss. It's like I feel like if you want to live forever, it feels like maybe you have to become the Abyss, or you fall into it, or you have to do something. But different theory for another time. Generally speaking, all interesting. I find it very interesting that he was very much on the point of like the Abyss is like why Kat is being drawn to it, which I think like again creates that connection, that wedge, where it feels like something's gonna like where we start getting a little bit of hints and like creeping little details for tape 2. But I like the fact that the way they kind of like he phrased it itself, where he's like he's not really been afraid of taking risks with characters. And then we saw it with Life is Strange 1, how Kate Marsh was perceived, and then they kind of like changed things to kind of like keep her within the story and to kind of keep people like invested in character. How we've lost fan favorite characters, i.e. Chloe Price, i.e. Sean Diaz, in terms of certain like, you know, endings of Life is Strange. You can play all kinds of different outcomes that happen from each character. And it's always been that kind of gut wrench when you meet a character in Life is like in a Michel Koch game. It's like, are you going to live? Yeah. Because I don't want to be attached at this point. Because it's like, if you don't live, I'm going to cry. Yeah. And Michel's behind the scene. It's like doing his own thing. I genuinely think like as well when he's making ideas with Jean-Luc, and Michel's like, I'm going to hit Velvet Cove with like a comet. And then you have like Frederica and Luke pulling him aside, but like, Michel, no, we have a franchise to make. And he's like, no, town obliterated. That's what's going to happen. Like Michel franchise, and it's like, no, I'm going to destroy it.
Well, no, he just said he wants to make Lost Records a franchise. He never said Velvet Cove. He wants it to be an anthology. So if he wants to hit it with a comet, you know, anything can happen to Velvet Cove, because all Michel said was Lost Records is an anthology.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like Arcadia Bay. You know, one thing could happen, one thing couldn't. It's up to you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that the town's safe. I don't think we're gonna head down that route for now, even though there's
if I have to save a dog, you know, to like make sure that the town is okay, then yeah, of course I'm going to make sure the town's okay. But if there's no dog that I got to protect, like Pompidou, there's no Pompidou in this game, that town's getting crushed, dog. Like I'm setting 3 comments down, dog, just to make sure that it just gets imploded.
We haven't actually seen a dog yet in this game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm imploding this town, dog. Yeah,
I think we might see one on Cat's Ranch, though. Do you know what? As
well,
now,
if the game was based in Philly, of course I wouldn't. You know, unless the Eagles win, and then I'm destroying the city. But if the Eagles didn't win, I'm still destroying the city. You know, let's just be real.
My choice would be I would throw the stick into the abyss with a dog.
Yes,
that's what my
with Pompidou. Pompidou's in the abyss.
Pompidou's going to the abyss. He will become the abyss with Mushroom's legacy. And one last little bit as well before we move on from the interview. I thought we'd cover this because we have time for it as well. So they said, how long did the development take for both tapes? Was tape 1 easier than 2? Because obviously we now know that tape 2 is delayed till April 15th because it was going to come out this month, but it has been delayed. Michel says here, and I quote, I think that tape 2 is going to be much faster than tape 1. Episode 1 was always going to take the longest because you have to build all the systems. So for Lost Records, the memoir mechanic, which is a lot of very complex things in terms of technique, how to save all the videos on console, and a lot of technical challenges. Tape 1 definitely took longer than tape 2. And tape 2 is more continuing to create content and making the story evolve. I think in the end, it was almost 4 years on this game because it's because we built the studio from scratch. So I would say that the normal time to make the game would have been way shorter, but we had to make from scratch to hire almost a new team. So I would say that the first year was really much more focusing on logistics and getting the studio ready, getting the team ready, and pure development. I would say is more around 3 years or something like that. But hopefully we can be quicker for the next games now. That we have built the technology and we have tools that are much more solid to continue to make the games in this franchise or the narrative games, end quote. So it seems like realistically future entries are like 2 to 3 years depending on time frame, which is kind of good as well.
Yeah that makes sense. They probably have, I mean, let's be real, a lot of people like hate you reusing assets, right?
Yeah,
but like they're like, oh, that's so lazy. Okay, who's the studio once again that makes the Yakuza games?
what are they called now?
I can't remember.
The name is now. It's Ryu.
But they consistently reuse assets, and like they consistently, and yet, but that's how you put out games quickly because you reuse assets.
Yeah.
And I can predict it right now. People are going to be so butthurt that like
Ryugagoto Studio.
There's no way. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's Ryugagoto Studio. I've probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but yes.
Yeah. But yeah, people are just going to be so upsetty spaghetti. That's
not an issue.
Don't know.
Not an issue.
It's not an issue.
No,
because like issue. Again, with the whole 2 to 3 years, like assets going to be reused, right? Stop being so like dramatic about everything. And if you want a game sooner, that thing needs to happen. This isn't called cutting corners. That's not cutting corners. That is just utilizing. Okay. If you get upset about reused assets, you don't understand game development. Like flat on throw, you don't understand.
Also, as well, these are the same people that would be annoyed, for example, playing Pokemon Gold and Silver and going to Kanto. But then for us, it was like elite level peakness, being like, oh my God, we're going to revisit the assets. And it's like, they actually just refined things. Obviously, they had development constraints and they'd kind of changed certain aspects of it. But it's like, that was like peak for us. And even when you brought Yakuza up, shining example. I've only played 4 entries at the minute. Yeah. I would sooner spend more time in Kamurocho than them keep changing things if need be. They will change it over the course of time. But even with Kamurocho, the thing with that game as well, when you play it, they change enough of it so you can keep changing the town. So it's like you keep the assets and it's nice as well. It's familiar. So it's like, it feels like you when you play as Kiryu, for example, where I'm up to, you're always invested in the town. You know Kamurocho. You've seen it change over the time and evolved with his story. And things have opened up, things have closed. It feels like a town that's alive. It feels like in the city you grew up in. It's like the things that are constantly changing. Here's a new introduction of this aspect. Here's that. Not an issue. If you're doing that, then I don't really know what to say about it. I think it's stupid. Yeah. I would sooner them keep Velvet Cove and explore another area of Velvet Cove because it's big enough. Yeah. We don't have an idea of the town, do we? It's like Springfield or like South Park's town in Colorado. It's like the town can be anything. It can keep adding things. It can keep changing things. That's the kind of scope that they have. So it's nice to know that at least with the kind of like the foundation there with the studio as well. Now having spent as long as they have done doing R&D and investment into it, it feels like entries will come out more constantly and flowing. Whatever those entries are and how the story takes it as well. I'm kind of just nice with that. Yeah, I don't think they'll take like a radical change. It'll stay in America more or less, I think, for the time being. Maybe unless the game really kind of takes a different route and goes into like a different like country or something like that. But I think it's Michel though. All the games are kind of like American based, aren't they? They're very Americanized as as part of his storytelling. So
USA, baby. Yeah.
USA. So I think that interview was very interesting. Adam, is there anything else we have to add here before we move on to our next one?
Just telling all of our fans, just stop being butthurt. That's all.
Indeed. Everyone stop being butthurt. But you cannot be butthurt about the next subject, because we actually had this comment come in from a commenter. It was Bliss L1T. I'm just double checking that. And they said, can you guys talk about the ARG for the game? And we will talk about the ARG for the game as well, because as you can see here, I believe this is the latest update. This was on the 6th of March. We're recording the 8th of March. And it says, when you stare into the dark, sometimes it stares back. A new movie just dropped on Movie Palace Online. What do you think is hiding on the other side? Join the Lost Records Bloomer Age ARG at moviepalace.com and the game starts. So you have your alternative reality game there. And I just quickly pull this up as well for plug for other people who are in here. Where is it now? Right. No, that's the... Oh no, where am I going? Adam,
I don't know.
So here we go as well. Okay. Here's a plug as well for the people who are watching. As you can see, Velvet Cove Online. This is the Discord server that you can go into and you can get involved. So we're just plugging that for people who aren't aware of it. You can get involved at any time. They also have wikis available as well, so you can kind of catch up on steps as well, which is helpful. And there's a lot of people in there collectively working on that. So do check it out. And then one last thing as well, because we're going to use a bit of a cheat sheet here as well. This is from the Lost Records wiki, which has started to start logging some of the entries in it. Velvet Cove Online was your ARG game, started on the 13th of February, shortly before Take 1's release. The ARG begins when Erin finds an old PC that belonged to her recently deceased mother, and she asks for help discovering what's inside. So they got step-by-step some of the little things in here, which we'll come on to. They're not up to date with where people are at the moment going to March. We'll come on to that. So Adam, to quick with as well, have you played the ARG? Are you involved in the ARG? I'm putting you on the spot here.
No,
you are not. Terrible. You are getting sentenced to 100 years in the abyss. That's what's happened to you. How dare you?
ARG, anything that's ARG for me, it just feels like homework, and like my brain does not compute it at all. Like anytime it's just like, oh, do this to get this, and then that. I don't know what it is. Once I'm out of a game and I'm doing these things, it feels like homework. But I loved Prey. The game Prey, the Bethesda reboot of the series, and that was all over the place, kind of like an ARG. Like you got to do this to get this, and that to do this. When I'm in the game, I like doing it, but when I'm doing it in real life, I don't know. It's just something about me. It's just like I can't do it, man. Like I just get frozen. So I did not do it.
I'll make an admission. I haven't played. I opened it. I tried to play it. I'm the person that played PT for like 4 days trying to figure out a puzzle, and it infuriated me. And I was like, right, I'm going to the Discord to find out and cheat here because other people are finding it out. But no, like I've never really. I like it as a marketing tool, and it's kind of nice for the people who played the game and looking for something else, which is quite nice. And I'm keeping an eye on it in the background as well. I went into the Velvet Cove Discord as well to see who's in there. I saw Dream Prism was in there. I was like, I knew it. I knew he'd be in there. It's like, you lot will not get anywhere without Alex in his mask as well. He'll come in the comments of this video being like, it wasn't me. I haven't done it. No, Alex is saving you guys. He is working the puzzles. He is the genius behind this ARG solving. He's doing his own part. But like, I'm giving him.
He's a mathematician as well, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he is. I even saw comments where it's like he's your go-to person. Be like, I like snooping in the.
Yeah, he's smarter than both of us combined. Yeah,
indeed. So I was like, he is the guy. He will help you solve this ARG. So that's it. I know Alex is going to be here. Like, I haven't done that. I'm so just help him. Like, no, you guys will be screwed about him. So I'm just pointing out. I saw like quite a few people who have like popped up in the podcast in the comments. No, it is interesting to do it. I did go through the process of like playing the ARG and then also using the thank you Velvet Cove Discord server for helping me cheat this. And I used some of the like their cheat sheet, their wiki page as well to kind of go through the process.
I tried to do that red strip thing, like we had to hold up a red strip. I was drinking a cranberry kombucha at the time, and I was trying to like put up the red. I was like, can I see through the cranberry kombucha? I couldn't. So I was like, I give up.
It is an interesting experience. I do I just want to kind of pull up the actual page here as well, because we'll pull up one. So this was it. So it's like warm up, which is where I got stuck, and I was like, help. And I went to the Discord and to look for it. As you can see, it says before the AG begins, Erin, a lover of puzzles, releases a few clues in order to introduce herself and her dislikes to her favorite movie, the song she listened to on repeat after her mother passed, books that left a mark on her. And then you start going into the process of it as well. After warming up some introductory puzzles, Erin gives access to her mother's PC. However, the computer fails to boot up, and the hard drive must be first repaired. After entering recovery mode and repairing the disk headers, the hard drive was then left to defrag. By the way, as well, Adam, did you hear the dial-up connection noise in this ARG?
I did.
I was like, I was like, the kids do not know. They don't even know what a floppy disk is nowadays. I was like, the dial-up connection. I was like, oh
bro,
my God.
It's wild because, like I said, I work with like people in their early 20s who have never heard of a life without Wi-Fi. Like it doesn't compute in their heads. They don't know a life without Wi-Fi.
It's a scary feeling that. It's like it is. So you need to be away. I don't think you should be anywhere near the internet until you're like 16. So it'll probably have like a like a cigarette warning in the future where it's like cannot use until like you're 16 or something because of the mental effects it has. So the game, Adam, I'm just kind of curious because I won't go on too much of this because like ultimately we've not been fully like invested as other people have, and I've said that before as well. There's a Discord that you can go and check out. I am interested to see what the setup here is for this because, like, as you can see there, the game premise is that, which is the fact that the ARG begins when Erin finds an old PC that belonged to her recently deceased mother, and she asks for help discovering what's inside. And I'm just kind of curious what that's going to lead up to for tape 2, though, because like Michel.
So Erin is Kat's daughter, I'm assuming.
Erin is
Kat's daughter.
Kat.
Yeah.
Kat's like, oh, so you mean adult Kat?
Adult Kat, yeah.
I thought you meant teenage Kat's like Adam. I was like, we're going, that's like some, that is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it, I don't think it says what year it is. She just finds an old computer and an old floppy disk that she has to access from her deceased mom. So maybe Kat, right? Like recovers from cancer, but then, dies later on. So maybe Erin is Kat's daughter.
Why didn't I think of that?
I don't know.
That does seem like the most logical, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm good. I'm good at coming up with theories, but once you give me homework, I'm like, oh. It was just my entire life. Like people say, like, why can't you do your homework? I'm like, I just can't. But can I tell you about my theories about the Matrix right now? Can I tell you that? But no, people were just interested in me doing homework when I was a kid. I know. Yeah, traumatic.
Because like, who else is like? Because there's no. Because the thing is as well, this game is self-contained, and we've seen the credits already, and we've seen all the other elements within Lost Record so far. Yes. And Erin isn't necessarily going to take like a massive story role as like, because even if you introduced her, she would have to be introduced as like a neutral character where anyone who hasn't played the ARG comes in and enjoys it. And it's like, oh, actually, there's an ARG link, but you kind of know who she is as she is on her own. But that's an interesting theory that you think that she's Kat's daughter, and that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the ARG right now. I mean, it's just a lot of it is there we go. So it is a lot of just like stuff, boom. So like there's nothing really here indicating that like we are in a certain time period. However, all of the things like indicate that we are within the 90s. So maybe Erin isn't Kat's daughter because I don't know. There's nothing really indicating here that like we're in the time of like the early 2000s or like 2020s. You would think there would be something here to give us the hints within the realm that you're just in like Kat's basement or something, but I don't know. I think we're in the 90s as we're playing this game, and I think Erin is also in the 90s. So there we have a README that is about team up with the Discord. So they also shout out the Discord within the game if you go into the README. So there's that, and the ARG wiki as well. Important dates. Movie Palace Messenger hits your inbox every what?
Yeah.
What?
Those are the puzzles
look at that. Oh, look at that. Hit your inbox every Tuesday. Is it okay if I'm late? Absolutely. All previous missions stay, blah, blah, blah. If you get stuck, Discord. Check Aaron's emails. So again, I went into the emails as well, right?
I know this is getting so annoying. So I'll turn the computer off.
Wait, you can hear it?
Yeah.
I can't hear it.
You know,
that's so weird. No. So yeah. But yeah, so maybe I'm probably wrong that Aaron isn't, Kat's daughter. So there's something really indicating there.
But also maybe the environment is like the one that's kind of like throwing this theory off now. But also as well, wouldn't it make sense if, like, for example, she worked in like an old computer shop, and that's like the basement where there's like old computers that they're looking through, and like, because it could still make the argument for it in the early 2000s.
Maybe. I still think I'm looking at this image right now, and it's like, I take that back, because like I'm looking for anything that's from the 2020s within this scene, like literally anything. Which is Pogs, it's a Rubik's Cube. Like, there's got to be something here left to like indicate that we're in the 2020s.
But the this here, look at the mission 1 though. A poem her mother wrote, a bucket list her mother wrote. That feels like maybe something Kat would have. I'm a bit like, Movie Palace receipt.
I don't know.
I do wonder about that.
No. But yeah, I guess we will find out as people find out more, and as Dream Prison tells us more.
Indeed, yeah, he will figure this out. He is the person. I'm putting all stock in Dream Prison to figure this out. If there's no one person can figure out, it's him. Player responds to Emily's email. Who's Emily? I'm looking at Emily here.
Isn't Emily the? Oh, I don't know.
Erin's the daughter.
I don't know. No.
Yeah, you're not filling your wiki. Help us. We're going to be screwed. People are going to yell at us in the comments. No.
Welcome to the World Wide Web. And I'm like, I have nothing to read the activation code on the World Wide Web.
I do feel like there's something more to this, if anything. If you are further, just let us know in the comments. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that we've like disappointed you for this conversation.
Yes.
Bliss, I'm sorry, but like we have tried to keep on stay with it. But as Adam has said as well, it's like, I've got like little things going on in my head whilst I'm doing it. I'm like, oh God, but it is very cool to see it though. But and you can still get involved, as Adam said in the wiki as well. It's there. I do think that's going to have a bit of a bigger tie-in at the end of the game, because that could even be an ending part of the game as well. Like a scene where they find the computer, it ties in with the ARG. Can't really rule it out, to be honest. It's like, it seems something that's logical. Adam, should we go into our next piece?
Yes.
So I'm going to go back to our Twitter page here as well as it is, and it is this news here, which will be short, but it is a Lost Records fix is in as well. Is that loaded up? Yes, there you go. So as you can see, hotfix 1.02 is live on PS5 and soon on Xbox. See, Adam, as well, this is what happens when Luke has to make games for you and Yellow Flash Hawkage.
But most of the glitches have been happening on PS5 though.
Yeah, but because they're developed. I know from sources. I don't know. I'm not making this up, but I know from sources they had to cut corners in the PS5 version because they were trying to get this game out for you on Xbox. And Yellow Flash Hawkage and the other person that comments in the comments saying, "I have an Xbox, but and you keep forgetting about me." But I'm like,
what
no,
specific Xbox though? Let's put this in perspective. They had to cut corners for what specific Xbox?
The one that you have, the Xbox Series X or the S.
There it is, the Series S. So I have a Series X, but this is what's the trouble about having two stupid queues for every stupid console coming out. They have to like pretty much have like a previous gen console that's just dragged along. and just saying like, oh, but it's a Series X and a Series S. And it's like, no, stop it. Like, just have the one console so that people stop like having to develop for one or the other. And then you have all these bug breaking things. It's the same thing that happens with cross-gen.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing a cross-gen game, you have to make it for the Xbox 360, guys. It's like, why?
But they've shot themselves in the foot of the industry like that, because it's like I get it as well, because it's not cheap to afford a console and stuff, but developing games across 2 console generations has caused so many problems for developers now. And also as well, here's the big thing we need to remember as well. Good thing that this is just current gen consoles now and not last gen, because think about how many more issues they would have had trying to put this on the previous generation with like the limitations. And I know I feel bad about saying, because I know people are still on those console generations, but we're like X years into these cycles now. It's like, and you look at the PS5 games on list and the Xbox one, I'm like, what was the point in getting these consoles out if you're not moving people into new consoles? It's just a bit, that's it. Let's not go into console war conversation. It's a bit in itself, not fit somebody else. But as you can see there, fixes are in. Save in-game issues now fixed for new players. Camcorder footage isn't vanishing into the abyss anymore. Movie nights is back on. Grab your popcorn. Fix some game blockers and multiple general fixes. So that is all that's in there. Is this link actually open up to the hotfix page? Oh, yes, it is actually. Night. I should actually share that. I was looking for the patch notes. I didn't know if it was actually like a separate FAQ. Here it is. So you can see that I opened that link up. So it's BNR Hotfix 2.1. Hi everyone. The patch introduces key improvements to game stability, save game stability, story progression, and overall behavior. We're going to move down here. So I think this is another one. Oh yeah, so we've resolved multiple bugs causing save game issues, fixed progression blockers, and addressed multiple game crashes. If one or more camcorder footage files are lost, we strongly recommend not to play in collectible mode at this stage. Please note that this update helps prevent new save game problems. It cannot restore previous lost games. Players affected by this issue will need to start a new tape 1 save to continue into tape 2. We understand that this is far from ideal and deeply apologize for the inconvenience. So yes, your save file lost. If it is gone, it is gone at that point. So there's some things here. So you got a little patch contents here as well. And look, see Xbox, this is for you. They're doing this for you.
Batch saving for camcorder footage optimized. Okay. Yeah.
So we've got quite a few fixes here. So we're making you aware of it if you haven't. And it's like general as well, fixed crash while saving. General bug fix is, as you can see.
Okay, so fine conditional. So what is movie night? Like they said, like movie night is back on. Grab your popcorn. What is movie night? I don't remember that part.
Let's have a quick look. See, the thing is though as well, they haven't actually released actually like a blog post where it's like a bit more specific, which is a bit like, because they had the FAQ when they did like the game coming out and it's kind of.
Oh wait, I see a game progression fixed conditional blocker in the chapter movie night. Oh, okay, where the camcorder footage. Yeah.
Fix a conditional block in the chapter movie night caused by a broken camcorder. I didn't get
that bug. I have heard from a source though that the PS5 condition, like the PS5 editions of the game, have been crashing much more. The Xbox surprisingly is standing a bit stronger, which is a little weird. That I'm just like, why? That's a weird development, because usually it's the other way around. Although even on the Life is Strange remastered, you got way more bugs than I did.
Indeed.
I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
There were some technical limitations on that.
Yeah, exactly. But there you go, guys. It's a hot fix.
There you go, Adam, as well. Fix a conditional blocker in the chapter where the camcorder footage would not play on the TV, preventing story progression.
Oh.
Which I don't
remember that happening. I mean, that's why I said in my review that like there was nothing game breaking. There was nothing like impeding me. But here's a bug right here saying it's impeding your playthrough. Yeah. So I can understand why people give it a low score. If it's impeding your progression, then I understand a low score, because then it's not a game. You're not playing. So, but we got hot fixes here. The team is on it.
Yes.
And there you go, everybody. You can continue your story.
They are working, within their constraints. So fingers crossed, things keep going up there. Adam, quick little brief one here as well for us quickly talk about, and it is one
briefs.
that you'll like this one as well. As you can see there, Night School Studio has responded. Personally, we like the license plate on the right. It speaks to us. We like your taste, and tagged at Lost Records. And if you're listening on audio version, someone tweeted saying there's a Control reference in Lost Records Bloom Rage, and next to it there is one of Oxenfree being played. And there he is, the gaffer as well. Lost Signals are Lost Records in a way, and it's Michel Koch responding, which is a very cool.
Oh my god, I gotta play this game now. They have good taste. Yeah, dog. Play Oxenfree. It's only the first game is technically 8 hours, but if you play it
OMG, I gotta play this game now because I have good taste. Duncan, you are very close to being pushed into the abyss. I'm not gonna lie. Yes. OMG, I gotta play this game because I have good. This is Michel Koch. Koch, and also Don't Nod. Never repeat that message. I'm gonna scroll up to remove you from there. You're not being seen. You're getting away.
Do you understand? Have you played Control, by the way?
Remedies, yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, like, do you like understand the reference for Control then? But yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm middling on Control. I don't think it was amazing, but I don't think it was bad. I think it was a little overhyped, in my opinion.
It's funny you say that because I didn't really enjoy it. There's more I went into it.
Yeah, like I love how people connect with it. People love Control. And I'm like, I love that for you. Like, go for it. Because I think there is a good game within Control. It's mostly the map design that got me. I was like, where do I go now, dude?
It's like just constantly like back and forth, and I'm like, just give me an arrow.
Backtracking is just like, what do you mean this way? What do you mean this way? It's just like, I think it's just the level design that got me.
Yeah, that's fair. I remember I enjoyed parts of it, but I wasn't fully invested compared to other Remedy games. Yeah. I love Alan Wake, for example, but I wasn't really overly sold on it. But yeah, I thought we'd give a shout out though, because it's always nice to see Night School. That would be a dream collab, by the way, as well. Night School and imagine as well if they crossed over. Imagine if like Michel's characters crossed over and met. Like imagine I hope in Oxenfree 3. I don't know how we're going to call that, but Oxenfree 3, there's a Swan Holloway reference. Please make that happen. It'll be great. Adam, next piece of news. This is a little bit of an interesting one. It's a bigger one as well for us as well. So this is about Lost Records. So it's in terms of
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, we're not going to talk, folks, about Monster Hunter Wilds. We're going to go into 24 hours here as well. So,
but they made 69 million. 69.
Indeed. Nice, as you can see here, it says Game Discover co-founder Simon Carlos posted a list on LinkedIn saying that basically it posted a list of like the top 10 highest grossing new games on Steam in February 2025. And as you can see there, Lost Records, Bloom Rage is at number 10 in the February list. It made $1.1 million off there. And in itself as well, it says Carlos pointed out that the first, quote unquote, the first 2 weeks of revenue for most games without pre-orders can be a third of a year one and fifth of a lifetime revenue on Steam, end quote. Lost Records was not available on pre-orders, remember, as well.
Yes.
So we actually have data here, because obviously we talked about the PlayStation Plus deal and also where it ranked on in terms of that true trophy story. And like it was kind of a little bit underwhelming, maybe the sales of that. But we have Steam here. We looked at the Steam database, we looked at the Steam count. Generally speaking, that doesn't surprise me that it's down there.
Right.
Because it's an independent game. The marketing has been struggling until PlayStation has now got involved as well, where it's starting to push it out.
But I mean, look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. I remember seeing like commercials on like regular television on Kingdom Deliverance too. So there's that. So
marketing doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a success, because Banishes was marketed by Focus. Maybe strangely marketed, not like strong enough, if anything, but that was a publisher that was working on it and it didn't sell anywhere near as well. But I think like those sales see, the thing is, I can't read too much on the sales because there are certain factors we are forgetting. Tape 2 isn't out yet, and that's the big one where I think people are still going to wait on it. Even when you said it last 2 years ago when we were reviewing The Expanse, it was like, you were like, it's going to look better when people play it all together. Some people probably just waited until the last moment it came out, and it's like, actually, I'll pick it up now. Most people are like that because they don't necessarily
in May, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's coming out in May? Oh no, sorry, April.
In April.
So next month. Yeah, I'm so dumb.
There was much there when we looked at the releases, like major releases.
No. April 2025 game releases. Let's go back on Games Rants.
Of course, you'd go to Game Ranks, wouldn't you?
Oh, Game Rant. Game Rants. Sorry. Okay, so there are some things, right? But like not by much. Okay, so let's review again. Going into April. Okay, so then we have this.
Again.
We have the last again. Yes, again. Which Neil Druckmann has said in an interview, don't expect The Last of Us Part 3.
God.
Like don't
God. This is gonna be that's a hot take. That's gonna annoy a lot of people. But God, don't get me started on Neil Druckmann and Last of Us. We'll be here for hours, but continue.
So we have South of Midnight, which is, an Xbox game, so
yeah.
But Olivier de Rivière,
you didn't buy his vinyl, did you?
No, I didn't.
I'm sure that collector's edition, you're like, no, I'm not buying it. It's like,
I'm not paying $160 for a vinyl that I might not like the game.
Liz would understand. Liz would understand. I'm just saying that now. I'm speaking for her.
Oh my God! Don't get me started about the vinyl collectors, and they don't. Okay, so I'm gonna give some hot takes here. I'm gonna stop myself before I piss somebody off. So as someone, okay, no, don't. I'm not gonna start. So Blueprints, the Talos Principle, right? So then we have Lost Records, but look at the other games, right? Fatal Fury, Days Gone Remastered. I forgot Days Gone Remastered is coming out.
Why is that a thing? That's like doing a Remember Me remastered now. It's like, what would be the point? Yeah. Like, what would be the point? Are you doing Remember Me 2? No. It was like a financial, like it wasn't a disaster. It was like financially didn't meet any expectation. What would be the point? And same with Days Gone. It's like, come on, PlayStation. No wonder you're hemorrhaging like money in different parts. It's like, come on. Generally speaking, even that's a good window though.
May. Yeah, so like even May. Like, there's a good amount that we're waiting for to get to Elden Ring Night Rain, right? That's May 30th. So you have, like, pretty much all of April that's, like, not heavy hitters compared to, again, going to February, right?
Ooh.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, Civ 7, that. Avowed, you have Pirate Yakuza, you have, like, all these... Glover's back.
Assassin's Creed was in March as well. Shadows.
Assassin's Creed... Like Split Fiction came out. Everybody loves Split Fiction. But like April's pretty open. May is fairly. Yeah. So I still think that like we're gonna see some like good hits in April. Like good financial like gains in April.
No, I completely because I'm not too worried about the early numbers for now. Because I have to like take and I'm trying to do this from a non-biased perspective. I'm not trying to like side with Don't Nod saying that, it could like outperform double exposure and get more money returns. I'm talking more about the perspective that it's early doors. It's only tape 1. The reception has been mixed at best. If we're being like from a critical consensus, it's been mixed.
Yeah.
And it's the first chapter. It's giving people time to talk about the game and have a knock-on effect and get other people to play it. We have to wait for tape 2 to come out in April, which I think where people will start to pick up more because it's available free again on PlayStation Plus, free in quotation marks on PlayStation Plus. And it's available for people to buy that. I think people will pick it up even. And also as well, it's more I don't think it's being applied again, but there was a 10% launch discount for tape 1.
Yep.
I don't think that's being applied for tape 2 because you have to buy the game collectively, don't you? So you're going to be buying it at full price at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was there's technically a little bit extra margin you're going to be making now. So it's like that launch discount is gone now. So it's like I don't think they're going to do it for tape 2 when it comes out, and then because you still have to buy both the tapes. But that's going to come out, which is good. Then the summer, there's a physical edition, which most people are probably waiting for because people love their physical, as you should as well. People are going to be waiting for a physical version to come out, so they'll pick up the game then on disc. There are certain checkpoints which are good for them. They have the PlayStation deal at the minute with Sony, so I imagine there's been some kind of return. I think Don't Nod reports earnings next month. I think it is for its fiscal earnings, so maybe some of this might show up on the books. Maybe that might be a bit early for us to suggest that, but things are okay at the moment. Has this been a disaster thing where like 5 people have played it? No, and also again, it's within the realms of a budget because, for example, compare it to compare it to Life is Strange Double Exposure, right? Where Square Enix is chucking money at it, and it doesn't chuck money in the same way as Final Fantasy, but it chucked money at it in terms of here's a AAA marketing budget for it. Let's get the adverts rolling out. Let's get people playing it. That game underperformed in sales. This game is working in expectation of an independent game. And it still needs to make its returns. It needs to succeed where Jusant failed. It needs to succeed where Harmony failed and all the other games. I think this will be Don't Nod's first real, steady success from its independent line. Since that entire Twin Mirror scenario, I think it's going to be the first one where it's like, actually, there's something here.
Yeah. Maybe. And plus, also, keep in mind, this is just Steam sales, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. This is just Steam sales, so we don't know what deal they got from PlayStation to put it on PlayStation Plus. We don't know how much Xbox has gotten. We don't know what's going to happen in April when people get the full edition. So it's not for naught that this game will be a financial turmoil, you know?
But I think when you mentioned that as well, that's a deal to be made in the future with Games Pass. And be like, here you go, like, further down the line, like a year later, being like, let's get it on Games Pass because we can strike a deal with Microsoft and make a bit more money off it. I think it's reasonable. I think like I'm just waiting for that. The metrics are too early for me to say, oh, it's a disaster, it's a financial flaw. It's too early for that because we need to see what Tape 2 does, because Tape 2 could like literally send those Steam numbers four times up.
Yeah.
It's a new IP. People still haven't heard of it. Again, and I will say this as well. I like the marketing. I like certain elements of it, and especially what they were trying to do with the resources. But ultimately, the marketing really didn't cut through the message. That's my. I will say that as well. I think this is a wake-up call for Don't Nod to really look at, and they have done with the reorganization project, that update that we did. It's to work with publishers, even if it's marketing-wise, or if it's some kind of like caveat there to get your game out in front of people, because truly, it's like that moment in Seven where Kevin Spacey character says that you have to hit someone in the face with a sledgehammer to get their attention. That's where we're at in the world. And you need people to like instantly get your attention, like to buy it impulsively. So those Steam numbers aren't too bad. I'm not going to compare it to some of the other games on there because it's like, you know, we're ascending into like AAA status with games. Lost Records is not a AAA game by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it's literally independent. I wouldn't even consider it AA at this point. I would consider it completely independent, considering Don't Nod's size and structure as well. But I think they're okay for now. Would they want a bigger kind of like number? Of course they would. Any developer would want that.
Yeah.
And also as well, I don't know if PC is going to be the most popular platform this game. It might even be PlayStation, for example. It might even be Xbox, for example. It might actually be a console version more popular than PC. And I know a lot of people play PC and people like, it's like and it's a good metric to compare off, but maybe it's not a PC game. And again, we're not comparing it to Split Fiction. Split Fiction's a AAA game made by EA. So it's like there's no kind of like measurement for it. So I'm hoping that it does well. It seems steady. And I think the main thing for them as well is if they can recoup their budget and kind of like make a solid foundation, maybe there's strength in the IP to move forward. And then every 2 years, Don't Nod has like a steady Lost Records entry coming out. But again, too many caveats. PlayStation deal, a potential Xbox Game Store deal, potential other deals that they put in, like if they do a Humble Bundle kind of thing, whether they do like, future kind of like another future arrangement or something, all kinds of things. They might even do like a collector's edition. They might even do like limited run, where it's like limited run does like a 300 collector's editions or something. There's still ways to make kind of like a decent margin from the game. So I'm not overly too worried about that.
No.
And by the way, as well, let me just say this as well, because I haven't played anything else from Joseph Fares. Is it Joseph Fares? Or,
Joseph Fares, yeah.
Yeah, Joseph Fares. I haven't played any other game apart from A Way Out.
What?
I just never got around to it. But his body of work at the minute is incredible. Like, oh my God. Like, when
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Yeah, like, so I wasn't in love with, what's the previous game that he did? The one with the divorced parents. It just came out last year. Yeah. So there was Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. There was A Way Out, the one I'm not thinking of, and then Split Fiction.
In between that, I'm gonna pull it up for you. You continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I wasn't in love with that game. I think it was great. Me and my wife played it, but it was just a bit too long. Like there were some aspects where I was just like, like this is going on. Like the levels are a little too long. But yeah,
he has 4 games that he's made. So Brother, A Tale of Two Sons, which is 2013.
Which was incredible.
A Way Out.
Yep.
It Takes Two, and then
It Takes
Fiction.
Two is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, It Takes Two. I wasn't in love with that.
By the way, 4 years ago.
Yeah, but it won Game of the Year too.
You might even win Game of the Year for this as well. So
Split
far.
Fiction, yeah, people are loving Split Fiction, yeah. But yeah, cool.
He has got like an incredible, like, I'm gonna go through his games at some point as well, because he's kind of caught my eye now. He's got very, like, he's gone from meme extraordinaire at the Game Awards to kind of like one of the creative minds in his field, and it's quite a testament to him as well. I did love that when he like made Jeff Keighley almost cry, like that first Game Awards.
Oh yeah.
Segment. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to bang on too much about the numbers, because I think we're in steady place for the time being. Adam, so we got a couple of last pieces here, and I'm just going to pull them up. And then
quick fire
here. So where are we going here? So we're going to Edouard Caplain, the legend himself. Very early concept for Less Records. Stunning looking game. First part is out now. He posted on the 5th of March, and there obviously you can see the gaffer there, Luke Baghadoust.
Very early stages.
Very early stage art. I've forgotten about this one. Look at them as well. They look so different. So different. It's like quite crazy that as well. Swan looks completely different from the idea there. I'm going to pull it up on the screen as well.
I mean, look at Kat, though. Like, wow.
Yeah, look at that Kat. Yeah, Kat, Nora, Swan. Oh, wow, look, it's crazy that what they were doing. It looks almost mixtapes-esque. Before mixtapes.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, when are we gonna get mixtape, dude?
I'm so excited for that game. I'm so excited for that game. I'm very, very much interested in it. The vibes are real in that. So Edouard Caplain sharing some beautiful looking art there for us. And then Adam, I'm going to quickly go into the other piece here as well. So we can give a shout out to the wonderful, where am I going? There we go. So there's Kelly Recco. As you can see, I'm going to pull up her profile. She is the material artist at Don't Nod Montreal, and she shared her portfolio, which I've completely lost. As you can see here, some wonderful looking artworks, which are now not loading. There we go. They're pulling up on the screen. Put new work on my portfolio. I'm excited to share some of the work I did on Bloom Rage as material artist. Check out the contributions. There's the ice cream with the ants. Some very cool looking art there. So I want to give a shout out to Kelly for that. And then finally, Adam, last piece of news as well. And this is one of my favorite people in the world at the moment.
Yes.
We're going to the wonderful Sam Bradley, who's the art director on the game. Put there on Blue Sky, more Lost Records concept, our playground, and therefore an interesting detail I had in here as well from Sam, which said we had a pretty specific liminal mood in mind for this scene early on, which is when they're in the playground, they're trying to retrieve Autumn's keys. Really happy how we translate the intent into gameplay and cinematics, and there's some, for the audio listeners, some graphics that are being shown by Sam, and the kind of like the mood lighting and stuff, which I thought was very, very cool. So that's all our pieces of news, if anything. Adam, should we go into our last section now as well?
Yes.
Before we sign off the Lost Records Journal. So we have got our new segment, which is called Rage Records. This is a hat tip to KJL Kevin, who gave us the idea from this. It has been stolen, and KJL is spared from being sentenced to the abyss for letting us use the name, even though they didn't say anything else. But anyway, our theory section. This is our theory segment where you can have your theories. We'll discuss them. If you want to leave it on the original video back at the last episode, you can. If not, leave it on a recent one. We'll just try and kind of get through all of them as we can through rotation. And the first one here is from Lucky Fonts. And it says, a theory I'm super interested in is the missing fifth friend member, quote unquote. There's one particular scene where the perspectives change immediately after the Abyss scene, where all the girls are sitting at the picnic table just before Corey shows up. Our perspective is at the end of the picnic table, and you can interact with things. This is the only time where we have control, and aren't behind the perspective of Swan. There have been a few posts about this theory on the subreddit too. So an interesting theory. I'm going to pull the subreddit as well quickly because someone has mentioned it here. Which I think is in this first section. Yes, there is. So, as you see, this is from Mysterious Goose Noise. I love these usernames. Let's start with the shadows. I love the theory of the shadows being forgotten memories of the fifth friend. There is a figure nestled in the space between Swan and I think Nora, when they were watching the recordings together as a group, and the buttons on the camcorder rewound and played either without the girls noticing or they weren't phased, which is very reasonable if a person actually used the buttons. We know that Swan and Autumn have very scarce memories of the summer, and Nora is incredibly evasive. The box gives a lot of intrigue, especially with newspaper articles about a missing person and scroll writing remember, and I think remember some writing saying I was there, quote unquote. So this is on the subreddit. You should go and join. There's a shout out to my mod as well. You, HICCUL, absolute star. I'm going to give a shout out to them as well because they're doing incredible work at modding, running the moderation on this as well. Adam, fifth friend member theory. I've seen this pop up a couple of comments on our videos as well. And it's obviously one of those things. And thank you, Lucky Fonz, for the suggestion of the theory. Do you buy it?
No, this is dumb, stupid. You're lucky that I don't bark at you in the gut. No, it's fine. No, I think that's a good theory. I don't say that a lot about theories, right? Like I think I've trashed enough theories on this landscape. No, this is a pretty solid one. Again, just reading it out loud, a theory Super Sit is the missing fifth friend. There's one particular scene where the perspective changes immediately after the Abyss scene. I think a lot of people are onto this. There is a fifth member to the group. There's graffiti saying like, "Where's Corey?" on one of the picnic tables, right? I think there's more to it than that. Like, I think there is. I think we've gotten the setup that this is ethereal. Kind of, this is very much like a spirit trend. I don't want to give away the plots to too many games that are similar to this, so I'm not going to like drop any.
I can think of one right now.
That's what I mean. I don't want to like drop anything on here to like, because it does spoil some other games you probably haven't played yet.
Do you know what? I'm going to ruin it for one of mine. It's from my boy Hideo Kojima, and I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah, no, like I don't want to drop that, in case people haven't played it yet. Or I don't want to drop any names. But I will say this, that it has been done before. The point I'm trying to make here is that like it has been done before, not trying to say in a bad way. Like, oh, we've seen this before. But we know it can work, especially within games. There's some mediums with some twists that work in certain aspects. I can think of like one, if you haven't read it yet, Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I don't love all of her books, but how she sets up her story can only work in a book format. Like it works well to play with your senses. There are some things that in certain mediums, twists can really affect you. And I think in this scenario, in a fifth member, the way you play and the way you interact can set up that twist. I think this is possible. I think it's been done before. It's been done well. So I'm giving this theory a solid A-.
Well, why are we using American? No. We use a 10-point scale, Adam. We're not using your American weird.
A-, baby.
No.
A-.
I wanted a 10-point scale. We're not using your weird American like grading lit thingy. We're using a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
10 to 0.
Yeah.
Where?
That's what it is. I'm traumatizing people with the grading system. That's what has to happen.
Anyway, I think it's an interesting theory. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because I've been shot in the foot before when I do that.
I think this is pretty solid to happen. Yeah.
See, my only concern is though, is the game fully setting up for that theory to happen? Because I feel like you'd need a bit more for it to kind of like be there, if you know what I mean. It has to, it has to stand out a bit more. Because like one thing that I'm worried about doing this theory is you have two really big points that are like kind of overarching in the game, which is Kat's leukemia at the minute, which is a big driving point of the story. And then also Swan's coming of age story. This is Swan Holloway's story, remember? It's always going to be Swan's game. Like no matter what you do, this is what Michel does. He always has the focus on a central character. Does the fifth member kind of theory arch off into a completely different narrative and overshadow what Michel does anyway with like the coming of age story scenario? Because it feels like it's it feels like a bigger plot point of the overarching game. And it feels like almost like an M. Night Shyamalan twist that would come into play.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure if it fits in here. It would make sense, by the way. I'm not like completely disproving the theory because it like, especially with like remembering things and nostalgia and actually, there was another person there. And I think in itself, it would be interesting if like Kat had a twin sister that we never saw, and it was actually two of them rotating, and that was the fifth member. It was like, actually, that was a little bit interesting. I just don't know. I just feel like it might overshadow like other parts of the game where it feels like this twist comes in. It's like, actually, was it completely set up for that? Because we've had like the shadows in the game, the camera perspectives, little things people picked up, and that's all fair as well. Because it's like this could add credence to the theory. But for me to go into the second tape with like 6 hours or so, and you throw this wrench in as well, it's like, ooh, I was like, and maybe I didn't expect that from Michel's story because I've never seen him do something like that where it's like completely twisting. Like he has done plot twists.
I think he has the capabilities to do it though.
Not doubting his capabilities to do it. More about the fact that what is it? Does it fit into his story motif? Which I don't know if it does, like personally, because I feel like this is feels like something another director would do. I might be completely wrong here, and I do have potentially one theory that I would add on to this, which is the fact that, for example, when you're adult Swan and Nora and Kat and all the others, how many seats are at the Blue Spruce in the diner that we're sitting in terms of like in that booth? There's 4 seats. Autumn and Swan are there. Nora joins us, and we still have a 4th seat vacant. And does it feel like that missing person could turn up and take that seat if Kat is like gone? That's a potential option. I feel like that 4th
seat member can also pull up a chair on the end.
Yeah, but no. We're not doing that. No. That's just too much of a crowd. See, that's what I mean. There's too much of a crowd there. It just feels like if there was a 5th member, it feels like you'd have like other games. When you said it before, because I'm thinking of other games in my head in franchise, I'm not going to try to ruin them either. There's like more of a connection where it shows like, oh, people are like talking to each other, and it's like you can kind of notice those kind of things. So, generally speaking, I think it's an interesting theory. I'm not buying it yet. It's going to be my famous last words, if anything. I would give it a very strong, solid, like 7 out of 10 of a theory.
Like a B, like a solid B.
No, we're not using your American. Get rid of your American. We are using
B, B plus.
10 point scale, 7 out of 10. That's what I think it is. And to add on to this section as well as a kind of like a roundup before we sign off, I'm going to put it in here as well. Does Lucky Fonts escape the abyss? Would you push Lucky Fonts into the abyss?
I'm pushing everybody in the abyss. I'm pushing it. Once I see you, I'm hiding in the bushes. I'm pushing everybody in the abyss. You're like, what's in there? I'm pushing you.
I think Lucky Fonts' theory, as with other people's, has done enough to escape the abyss. You are free to go. No sentence. Yes. So, yes, interesting theory. But yeah, as I said, if you want to leave your theories in this video, please do. If you want to go back to the original video, leave it. We'll try and get through as many as we can up to the next tape's release. But yeah, we'll sign off here. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did like the video, even if you didn't like the video, please like this video, share your friends, subscribe. You will be pushed into the abyss and you will never be seen again. You'll be floating through the abyss and grabbing like Swan's flower. That's what's going to happen to you. So yeah. Like the video, share your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. It helps support the channel. We're at 1,600 subscribers. Help us get to 1,700. It's greatly appreciated. We're on social media. Please follow us. You keep up to date with all the little bits as well, so you can keep up to date with all the content about Life is Strange, Deck 9, Don't Nod, Square Enix. We cover all that stuff, so do check it out. And as well, the podcast is available on all podcast services. Spotify with a video version, Apple Podcasts, all of them. So go rate us as well. It helps support our visibility, helps boost our visibility. And you can also follow as well because you get instant access to the episodes as soon as they become available. So thank you for joining us. We have a couple of other videos planned in between things as well. And we also have StrangeCast coming up next as the March to episode 100 continues on that. The Lost Records Journal will also turn 1 year old this month as well. So me and Adam will probably do a video at some point, just have a little catch up about the podcast and where it's going. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, guys. See you later. Bye.
Later.